You are now listening to the Flurry podcast hosted by Marquise Rawls. What's up? I am very tired right now, and it's pretty cold in New York right now. It's been raining almost all day, but I told myself I will record an episode. So, Flurry podcast episode number 21. I'm going to start off with Jose Zepeda versus, how do you say this guy's name? Baranchyk. Check. But that fight, fantastic fight of the year candidate. They traded 8 knockdowns in one fight. When's the last time you seen that happen? I don't think I've ever seen 2 fighters fight and they trade 8 knockdowns in one fight. But this one, they did. They both showed impressive will to keep going. It's definitely the knockout of the year. I don't even think it's not even close. There's no other candidates for knockout of the year that's as impressive as this. It's not even close. Knockout of the year. It's a memorable fight and one that could propel Zepeda to stardom. But I think there's going to be somewhat of a different take on how people are going to view Zepeda after this fight. Now, like I said, it was a great fight. Both of them showed a lot of tough grit and will. But I think that people are going to start looking at Zepeda as he looks very vulnerable and beatable because he got dropped a few times. He was getting hit with some very clean shots. And it doesn't seem like he has a very tough chin like that. Now, Baranchyk, I don't know too much about Baranchyk. Maybe he has this out-of-the-world type of power in his hands, or maybe he's just a regular average puncher. But either way, Zepeda looked a little vulnerable, and I think that's how a lot of other boxers are going to look at it. They're going to see he's vulnerable, and they're not going to be so scared to fight him. They're not going to be too afraid to challenge him to a fight. Great fight, great win, but let's just see how it goes moving forward with him. Next news is Devin Haney has a fight against Gamboa, which I sort of don't even get this fight. This fight doesn't really make sense to me because Gamboa just lost to Gervonta Davis, which was honestly, it was kind of a sloppy fight. I'll be 100% honest. I like Davis, but this was a sloppy fight. And this is basically a fight, no disrespect to Gamboa, but this is a fight that he's supposed to lose. And is Gamboa like a measuring stick for 135ers? Because you had Tank Davis fight him. I remember Terence Crawford really got his name up when he fought him at 135. Now you got Devin Haney fighting him. I think Gamboa is like the measuring stick for people at 135. But the thing about it is Gamboa, I don't think he's really that good anymore. Like, he's not all the way trash or garbage or like a regular journeyman. He still has the experience. He still has certain things about him that's just like muscle memory to him. But he's not like no borderline elite. I don't think he's good enough to even really compete against a lot of these top guys at 135. But Devin Haney said this is his biggest test. And if Gamboa is your biggest test, I think you got to choose better fighters to fight. But a win against Gamboa for Devin Haney, it would prove nothing. He can't claim to be a top fighter just because he beat Gamboa. And I think this is a scheme to come at Tank Davis. I think he wants to, because I believe Tank Davis knocked him out in like round 11 or 12. I know it was super late into the fight. And I feel like if Devin Haney stops Gamboa quicker and in better fashion, he's going to start calling out Tank Davis, especially if Tank Davis loses against Leo Santa Cruz or even if he has just a bad performance in general. Devin Haney, he's going to beat Gamboa in better fashion, and he's going to start calling out Gervonta Tank Davis every day, all day on Twitter, on Instagram, on social media. He's going to go to the press every day. He's going to start disrespecting Tank. He's not even going to call him Tank Davis. He's going to call him Mini Cooper Davis. You're not a Tank no more. You a Mini Cooper Davis. The disrespect. But I would love to see a Devin Haney versus Gervonta Tank Davis fight. I will be up for it. And once again, do I need to say that Eddie Hearn, he still just talks too much. Stop talking to him. Stop interviewing him. He talks too much. I'm sick of seeing his face in boxing media every single goddamn day. I'm sick of his face. But I'm getting off that now. That's just something I have to throw in there. ESPN, switching topics now. ESPN, they have their own version of All Access. If you don't know what All Access is something that I believe Showtime they was doing, where they basically follow the lives and training camps of boxers, and many other platforms have used that same model, which I think is great. I love all these type of shows. The Zone has one. HBO had one before they stopped doing boxing. ESPN, they have one now. PBC Fox, they have one, and I love every single one of them. So ESPN have one. I think it's called Blood, Sweat, and Tears, or Blood, Tears, and Sweat, or something like that. And they basically do the same thing. They follow a little behind the scenes of the fighters. And they had one episode so far. I think they're doing a second one, but they had one episode for the Teofimo Lopez versus Lomachenko fight. And Teofimo Lopez said that this fight is very personal to him. I don't think this is the first time he said it. I believe he said it before, but I never really knew why it was so personal. Maybe Lomachenko stepped on his sneakers before. Maybe Lomachenko said that you suck. Maybe Lomachenko made fun of his father. Hey, maybe Lomachenko took his girlfriend a couple years ago. Who knows? I don't know. But this episode gave some clarity. Teofimo Lopez said that he met Lomachenko before. You know, a lot of boxers, they meet each other behind the scenes. Maybe they was at the same fight and they met backstage, or maybe they was just out and about in Vegas or in one of these big fight cities and they just met in the city somewhere. And Teofimo Lopez, he goes on to sort of describe how his encounter with Lomachenko was. He says Lomachenko had this sort of arrogant attitude about him, like he's far superior than everyone else and he's better than everyone else. And I understand how people don't like when someone's that arrogant, or when someone has that, like they're just exuding that energy that I'm better than you or I'm smarter than you. But for someone like Lomachenko, I think he has the right. Okay? Now hear me out first. Hear me out first. It's Lomachenko, the guy who had almost 400 amateur wins and 1 loss. The guy who won 2 Olympic gold medals. The guy who in his first 10 fights, I think had over 5 championship fights. And he had 1 loss, which was very controversial, but let's put that aside. But Lomachenko, who is the number 1 pound for pound guy, who, and I've seen a lot of boxers in my day. I did my history research. I went back and I watched fights from Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard and Robinson, Roy Jones and Floyd and all these stuff. I've never seen anyone as skilled and talented as Lomachenko in my life. I've just never seen anyone like this guy. I've never seen anyone with his specific skill set. He really is an artiste in the ring, and his footwork is literally the footwork of a dancer, because he used to dance for years. And this guy, he has the right to be arrogant. He earned it. He put the hard work in. He accomplished a lot, so he has the right to have that arrogant attitude. And guess what? Because I still think Lomachenko's going to win this fight. When Lomachenko beats you, now you can't even complain about the arrogant attitude. And you better apologize. Teofimo Lopez should apologize for calling Lomachenko arrogant. Should apologize for saying you're going to destroy him and obliterate him, and you're going to bully him and you're going to cause him pain. You should apologize for every single thing that he said if he loses against Lomachenko. If I'm Lomachenko, I'm making him apologize in person, on TV, ESPN, live in the post-fight interview. Make him apologize. But that's what I'll do. I don't think it's gonna happen, but that's what I'll do. Next news. This one I sort of had a little mixed feelings about this next topic, because Deontay Wilder, he finally splits with Mark Breland. If you don't recall, he actually fired Mark Breland, I think like a week or so after his Tyson Fury rematch, but then he brought him back on. But now he splits with him basically again, and this time it looks like it's for good. Now, the reason why I was sort of undecided about this situation was because I've always been an advocate for saying that fighters and boxers should work with different trainers and coaches so you can learn different tools to add to your arsenal. He's been with Mark Breland essentially his entire boxing career. He's never really switched it up. He's never really had a change in pace in how he trained and how he fight and how he had training camp. So this would be his chance to work with someone new who could teach him different things and give him a different mindset going forward. But at the same time, I don't know how the split was behind the scenes. Maybe it was a mutual agreement between both parties. But Mark Breland, he's been the day one guy. You can't fire the day one guy. He's been there since literally since day one. Since you wanted to be a professional boxer and fight so you could have money for your daughter, for your family, he's been there. He's taken you and literally made you a star. He made you a star. Yes, you had the athletic abilities and you had the insanely Thanos level type of power in your fist. But Mark Breland is the person who taught you how to connect that punch to someone's jaw. He taught you how to time your punch so you could knock out a Dominic Brazil and have the entire world going crazy screaming your name. Have Showtime paying you these millions and millions of dollars. He's the guy that brought you to that place. He's literally the day one guy. You don't split or get rid of the day one guy. And like I said, I don't know how it was behind the scenes. It could have been a mutual agreement between both parties, but still, it's the day one guy. You never split with the day one guy who held you down, who never even looked down on you. He always thought of you as you was this person bigger than life, because Wilder, he is bigger than life. Wilder is bigger. He's bigger than just boxing. He has that type of persona about him, that he's more than just a boxing star. He's just a great person all around. And Mark Breland, he brings that out of you. So you don't split and leave with that guy. You don't fire that guy, man. You keep that guy around for as long as you possibly can. You keep him for as long as you possibly can. That's why I'm sort of undecided about this situation. And yes, do I want him to work with a different trainer, a different coach? Yes, of course. But maybe you could work with a different trainer and still have Mark Breland in your corner. You could still have Mark Breland who could like keep you humble and sort of tamed as you work with a new coach and new trainer. You ain't got to let the guy go, man. Don't get your hopes up just yet, because Mark Breland, he's going to be all right. What he did with Wilder, he could do it with another boxer, because a lot of trainers, they're not a one-dimensional trainer. They train their fighters to their certain strengths and assets, and obviously Wilder, his strength is his power. But if you give Mark Breland someone who has like if footwork is their strength or defense, he could adjust and work with them. So I think he's gonna be all right. I think he's gonna have some other heavyweight fighters that's gonna come and want to train with him. Maybe even some middleweight or light heavyweight. Hey, maybe even a welterweight or a light welterweight or a lightweight or a bantamweight. He's going to have some people that's going to come knocking on his door saying, train me. That's all I'm saying. And he would be more than happy to train them and teach him his ways. Now, the last one is one I am actually very, very excited about. I really am just so tired right now, but this last one is going to get me excited. It's going to get my blood flowing a little bit. Terence Crawford versus Kell Brook. Yes. Yes. I've been waiting for the day where Terence Crawford has a formidable foe in front of him. Has he had good fights? Yes. Has he had fights against people who are good, who gave him, a little trouble here and there? Yes. Like I said, him versus Gamboa. Gamboa, gave him a little trouble here and there, but he overcame it. Who else? What was that guy's name? What's that guy's name? What's David Benavidez's brother? Is it Jose Benavidez? Yeah, Jose Benavidez. Gave Terence Crawford, a little trouble, but he overcame it. Even that last guy, Velasquez, he gave Terence Crawford a little trouble, but he overcame it. But now you're standing in front of a legit former champion who's been in big fights. He fought Triple G. Even though he got knocked out, he was outboxing Triple G, which Triple G is a really great boxer. But Kell Brook he's naturally the smaller guy, so that's a whole different story. But then he also fought Errol Spence, and he gave Errol Spence a hell of a fight. It was, I think, in the first half of that fight, I even had Kell Brook winning that fight. I think he was actually winning that fight until the power of Errol Spence was just too much for him. And, his broken eye socket was bothering him again. But up until that point, I think he was beating Errol Spence. And that was a war. So you have this guy in Kell Brook who's experienced. He's kind of tough. He has the boxing ability to actually match you. I'm not too iffy. I'm a little iffy on his power. He did knock out his last guy, but he was a little journeyman. You don't get no credit for knocking out journeyman, right? He didn't knock out anyone of significance or even hurt someone of significance. So I'm not going to say he has crazy power, but he definitely has the boxing ability. And Terence Crawford, you are in for a war. And this is going the distance. This is going the distance. Now, I will have to premise that Kell Brook, he is not the same fighter he was 4 years ago. I think something in him really changed when he lost to Triple G and Errol Spence. He became a little more cautious, and he's not the same. I don't want to say aggressive because he was never really aggressive, like an aggressive fighter, but he's more conservative with his fighting style. I'll say that. So he has less moments where he puts the pedal to the metal and he just comes at you. He has less moments like that because he's had injuries where he contemplated retirement because it was so severe. And he doesn't want that to happen again. I get it. I understand it. But against Terence Crawford, nope. That mindset has to go out the window because Terence Crawford, he is a mean dog inside the ring. He's literally a mean dog inside the ring. Once he smells the blood in you, he's coming after you and he's not going to stop. And you got to do something to either A, get him off you, or you got to match his dog with your own dog. And you got to see him toe to toe. And Terence Crawford is so skilled, and he switches from southpaw to orthodox that I don't think anyone could really match him toe to toe in the ring. I don't know if anyone can. You could probably try. Some people might have success, but you would have to sustain it and make adjustments throughout the entire 12 rounds. And Terence Crawford makes so many slight adjustments throughout the fight that most people won't even catch it. So I don't know if Kell Brook can stand toe to toe, but he's somehow, some way, he's gonna have to match Terence Crawford's mean dog inside him. He's gonna have to match that in some way, or he's gonna have to find a way to get Terence Crawford off of him, to just get him off him, which I don't think he has the power for, but we'll see. We've actually seen Terence Crawford's chin be tested. Him getting dropped against Kavlas, that was a legit knockdown. It was legit. The ref didn't call it. He made a mistake. But it was legit. He got knocked down. So we see, he could get hurt. He could get stunned. He could get dazed. You could land a good, clean, hard shot, and he would think twice about coming in. Now, what is the importance of this fight after? This is obviously just I think one is mostly because some people at welterweight still feel that Terence Crawford needs a signature win in his career, which I think, does he really have a signature win? I don't really think he has to me, I don't think he has a signature win, but sometimes you don't need a signature win for me to see the greatness in you. You don't really need one for me to see the greatness in you. Now, for other people, it's different. Other people, they view boxing different. They view fighters different. But for me, if I just see that you're putting on a great performance and you have something special about you, I can see it in you. You don't need a signature win. But this fight is also a way to compare, to create a comparison, a Venn diagram between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. Like I said, Errol Spence fought Kell Brook. Kell Brook was winning more rounds early on in the fight, in the first half of the fight. But then Errol Spence, he applied the pressure to him, got to him, got the TKO. If Terence Crawford could beat Kell Brook in better fashion and quicker and not lose as many rounds as Errol Spence, then that's how we can have a better measurement of who's better between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, instead of just a bunch of speculation. Because both are fantastic fighters, fantastic in their own right. They're different fighters, right? But we don't really have anything to compare them to. There's nothing that we can use to compare them, because they had different paths in their life, in their boxing life, and in their boxing career. So Terence Crawford fighting Kell Brook, this would be a way for us to compare and really see who's better. And maybe we can finally get the Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence fight, because I need the fight and I'm tired of waiting. I'm sick and tired of it. I don't want to wait no more. I don't. That's this episode. Flurry Podcast signing out. And stop talking about Eddie Hearn. You were just listening to the Flurry Podcast hosted by Marquise Rawls. Stay tuned for the next episode, or go back and listen to the previous episodes if you haven't done so.